2. I'm your host, Credit Coach Nicole Scott, and we are going to be covering business credit with Navy Federal in today's part 2 of the Navy Federal Masterclass. So if you are interested in becoming a Navy Federal member, building personal credit, building business credit, you are in the right place. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on part 2. Now, in part 1 of the Navy Federal Masterclass, we went over some of the things on the personal side that are literally a game changer as far as the credit products go with Navy Federal. This part 2, we're going to be talking about the business credit products that they have. And at the end of this video, you want to stick around so you can listen to what the do's, the don'ts, some more tips and tricks in regards to Navy Federal. Now, I know these are really long videos, but I promise I won't disappoint you. Before we get started, I do ask one favor of you. If you can do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, like the video, give me a big old thumbs up, and leave me a comment, because your engagement with my videos helps us reach a wider audience, okay? Now, I am going to be providing you with a lot of tips, a lot of tricks, so make sure that you have your notebook, make sure you have a pen handy, and if you are interested in signing up for one-on-one coaching, you can use the link below. I will be starting a mentorship later on this year in 2023, but right now I have the one-on-one mentoring where we will focus on you and your credit goals, no matter if it's personal or business, or you want to start a credit repair business. I can help you along the way. So let's talk about the Navy Federal business products that are going to help you and your business. Now, again, you want to start on the personal side and you want to venture over to the business side, because banking is all about relationships. You want to start with the personal relationship, and then you want to transfer that personal relationship that you've worked so hard to build up over to the business side. So that way you can say, hey, I've banked with you for this long. You know you can trust me. I have a solid rapport with you guys. And here we are getting business credit products with one of our favorite credit unions, right? So some of my favorite business credit products with Navy Federal, of course, you want to start off by opening up a Navy Federal business checking account. And I know that might seem like, well, duh, right? But a lot of places out there, you don't necessarily have to have a bank account with them in order to apply for their credit products, right? Or their credit cards, like American Express. You don't need to apply for a American Express business checking account. You can simply go and just apply for their credit cards. But with Navy Federal, you're going to need to open up a Navy Federal business checking account, okay? Once you have joined, there are 3 steps that you want to go ahead and follow. You want to make sure that you complete all of these steps before calling, so there is no delay in your application. So you want to make sure all owners of the LLC corporation are individual members of Navy Federal Credit Union with accounts in good standing. So anyone that has ownership of 25% or more of the corporation or LLC will need to have a Navy Federal bank account on the personal side, and they will need to be in good standing, okay? So that is very important. Step 2, you want to complete all of the information. You want to sign in with your personal Navy Fed credentials to access the business membership pre-application form. You want to complete the fields in the business member pre-application form, and then you want to complete all of the documentation. Now, as you may know, a documentation is generally required. The next step is you want to compile all the appropriate documents. You can go right to their website and get a list of all of the documents that you're going to need for your business type, and have everything ready to reference before you proceed to step 3. So that's why I like to use InkFile for my businesses, because all of your business information is in the InkFile portal. So you can literally just log in and give your business banker whatever they are requesting. Okay. Employees of Navy Federal Credit Union applying for a business membership must send an e-message to request review of their application. So the business is a little bit more strict, and it has different requirements than the personal side. Very important to understand, okay? Step 3, you're going to call them, okay, 2 days after completing all of the step 2 requirements for the review and your pre-application, okay? And to submit all of the required documents. Representatives are available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. Now, keep in mind, the customer service department is available 24/7. But this is the business bankers. So they are only available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Timing. So be mindful of that, especially if you're like me, you're in the West Coast, so you're Pacific Standard Timing. So 2 o'clock our time is 5 o'clock. They're already closed. Let's talk about the data points. This is really important for you to understand what data points are they looking for. What documents do you need to submit with your business application? So Business Solution requires certain government documents that are going to be required on behalf of your business. The documents required and what goes in them will vary based on the structure of your business and any applicable state and local requirements. Very important. Okay. Consulting with business counselors, attorneys, and accountants can prove to be helpful. So if you do need help, contact a CPA or a lawyer. That's my best advice to you, because I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice. I just give information based on, my experience and other people's experience, so that way I can provide you with information. Okay? It's not to be used for anything but educational purposes only. The documents required will vary again on the business type. So if you're a sole proprietor, which, you could apply as a sole proprietor, I wouldn't recommend anyone being a sole proprietor because you have no protection, but that's just me. Again, information. Sole proprietor's tax ID number, a valid business license, a permit, or a fictitious certificate or certificate of assumed name. General partnerships, you're going to need the tax ID number. That's going to be the letter from the IRS. You should have that in your business binder. If you don't have a binder, keep it online in like a portal like InkFile or Google Docs. The beneficial owner form, so the representatives will assist with the completion of all these forms. You're gonna need the beneficial owner form, and the representative can help you with this form. You're going to need a valid business license, business permit, fictitious business certificate, or certificate of assumed name. For the limited liability, limited partnerships, LLPs, PLLPs, you're going to need a certificate of good standing from the state, and you can order that right online for most places. Federal tax ID number, so that's the letter from the IRS. You're going to need the beneficial owner form, and again, someone can help assist you with that from Navy Federal. Fictitious certificate, we talked about that. And then last but not least, if you are a corporation, applies to C Corps and S Corps, you need a certificate of good standing stamped by the Secretary of State within the last 60 days. And it has to be before the date of the application. Federal tax ID letter, you're going to need the beneficial owner form and fictitious name. So a lot of the same documents. Those are pretty standard documents that you're going to need to open up any sort of business bank account, period. This information, these are the data points. What is a beneficial owner? It is someone or an individual who directly or indirectly owns 25% or more of a business entity. So that's why I said anyone that has 25% or more ownership of your business will need to be put on the application. So that's why sometimes if you're really the only owner, but you want to have multiple people, you should put them with less than a 25% ownership, maybe like a 5%, 10%, something like that. Why is the beneficial ownership information collected? Because, of course, someone has to be responsible for your business. We are still small business owners. Now, federal regulation requires certain financial institutes to obtain, verify, and record information about the beneficial owner of the legal entity. Fair enough. Now, this is all information that's directly on Navy Federal's website as well. Now, you are going to need to assess what the best NAICS code for your business is. If you need help with that, sometimes you can speak with someone. I can help you. I am a business consultant as well, but I charge by the hour. So if you want to book a call with me, calls are starting at $300 per hour. So that is the price that you have to pay sometimes to speak with people who have the information that you need. Is it worth it? Absolutely. I paid like $500 to speak to somebody for 15 minutes when I started my business, and they really, gave me very little information, but gave me just enough for me to understand, what to do. Okay. EIN number, where to obtain a copy of this. They are going to send you a letter when you register your business, and that letter is going to have your EIN number on it. If you use InkFile, which I'll leave a link below for InkFile, I highly recommend you register all of your corporations and LLCs using InkFile, so that way every business has everything online, from the banking resolution documents, your documents from the IRS. Everything is all in one location, so it can keep you nice and organized. The first credit card that we're going to talk about from Navy Federal is their Go Business Rewards credit card. There is a personal guarantee required, so I want you guys to have an understanding that business credit, especially with banks and bigger financial institutions and credit unions like Navy Federal, are most likely going to require you to put a personal guarantee as a small business owner. There is a difference between small business owners and corporate business owners. Corporate credit is usually when you're making $2 million or more a year. As a small business owner, we're under that $2 million threshold, and generally the owners of the business are going to need to have one of three things to qualify for business credit, and that is cash, credit, personal credit, or collateral. One of those three things can help you acquire business credit. In many cases, we're going to use our personal credit, right? So here are some of the data points that they're going to be looking for. Now, what's the minimum and maximum limits for the Navy Federal Go Business Rewards Card? The minimum credit limit is $5,000. The maximum is $25,000. Credit limits are determined during the underwriting process. So again, if you have a good relationship with them, if you already have some $25,000 personal credit cards on the personal side, that's just going to help on the business side. Is there an annual fee? No, so that's great. Can you take an advance on your credit card with the Go Biz? Yes, you can take a cash advance up to 30% of the available credit limit. So that's pretty good. Is there a fee for the cash advance? Nope, there is no fee. So that could be, exceptionally helpful for some small business owners. Can you obtain credit cards for your employees? Yes, you can. Are you able to get convenience checks? You would need to call and request them. So oftentimes people are always like, how do I liquidate a credit card? Well, remember back in the day when they actually used to send you checks for your credit cards that you can make out to different places or even yourself? Those are convenience checks. So they are going to send you a check or create a check for you that is going to go, you can write it to yourself if you want to liquidate a credit card. So you just write yourself a check for that amount, deposit it into your personal credit account or personal bank account, or you deposit it into whatever bank account, whatever the expense is for, whether you're paying yourself payroll or you're, paying for some sort of service or education resource, whatever the case may be. You want to write that check and then you can deposit it into that account, whatever account you choose, of course. Will your personal credit be checked when you apply for the Go Business Rewards card? Absolutely. Okay. So personal credit scores obtained from Experian. Okay. So again, when we talked about the personal side, very different. They pull from TransUnion. They're telling you we pull from Experian on the business side. Okay. Obtained from Experian are taken into consideration during the decision process. The underwriting process includes an evaluation of relevant credit information, including potentially the credit profiles of the business entity, individual owners, and or guarantors. So listen to what they're saying. You can be a guarantor for the business. So what some business owners do is they don't have the best credit. Maybe their credit card utilization is too high. So they find someone that can be a credit guarantor for their business because maybe their business is cash heavy, but it's not credit heavy, right? So they can find a credit guarantor that can guarantor on behalf of their business, right? And we can use their credit. So that's pretty powerful as well. Does Navy Federal require a personal guarantee? Personal guarantees are required on all business lending products. They said it right there. So a lot of that no PG malarkey that I hear going around, a lot of that information is old, it's outdated, it's not relevant. PGs, which are considered a personal guarantee, that's where you or somebody is personally guaranteeing the debt that is taken on behalf of the business will be paid back, or they will be personally liable for that debt. Okay. You are basically guaranteeing that the business is going to pay back any debt that is owed. And it is really important that you do so because they can come after you, and you want to always just try to do the right thing. Don't take money out that you can't pay back. Okay. We have to be responsible with this day and age. It's just not the right thing to do. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, that, and it might take longer. It might take longer for us to get where we want to be by going the right route. But guess what? It always is going to take longer when you do things the right way. So stop trying to take shortcuts and not fix your personal credit. There is no way around it. You have to fix your personal credit. Okay. Now, if you own more than one business, would you like to have a Go rewards card for each business? How does that affect the limits for each card? Your maximum approved credit limit will be split between the businesses that you own or co-own. So, for example, let's say you own two businesses, or you own one business that already has a Navy Federal Go Biz card. If you decide to apply for a new Go Biz card under your other business, then your total limit would be split between the two. That means that the limit on your first credit card may be reduced. So if you're not applying for a credit line increase, they could take that and just split it into two. So you want to be mindful of that and see if that's going to be, best fit for your needs and what your goals are. Okay. Let's talk about the Navy Federal business loans and business lines of credit. Whenever you see BLOC, that's what it means, a business line of credit. Now, generally, business credit cards, business lines of credit, the BLOCs, those can be no document or low document or even stated income. A lot of business credit cards are going to be no doc to low doc, meaning no tax returns, no proof, no nothing. Just we're going to check your credit. Okay. You got to have good credit. And what type of credit do you need? I would say with Navy Federal, you want to have at least a 680. With other banks, at least a 700, preferably higher. Okay. The higher, the better. 720 and above is the goal. 750 is where you really want to be at. Let's just be honest. Okay. Now, Navy Federal business loans. How can you apply for a business loan? Now, you can put your application in through their secure online portal, or you can actually meet with a business banker. I recommend building a relationship directly with a business banker so you can put your application right in with them and work with them and build that relationship. So that way you can make the application process a lot smoother. Now, they can give up to $50,000 for a business loan. That is huge because we're talking about unsecured. So that's great. Can you get pre-approved for a business loan? No, you cannot. Unfortunately, they have to go through underwriting. You have to go through the process. And what's considered to be a newer business for them is any business that's been open for less than 2 years. So, of course, a business that is considered newer is less than 2 years. As a business owner, when I was only in business for a year, year and a half, it was still challenging for me to get credit approved in my business because of the fact that I was a new business. I even got denied from Dell because they told me, you just don't have enough time in business. So that time in business is very important. And that's why a lot of people buy, aged corporations, or they will simply start their LLC or corporation before they're actually ready to start. So if you plan to open up a business in the next 5 years, open up your corporation or LLC now. Use InkFile, use the link below, start your LLC, start your corporation, let it sit on ice, okay? Let it age. So when you are ready to start your business and start applying for business credit cards, you have some age because you're seeing one of the requirements, one of the data points from one of the largest credit unions, you're seeing it right here in front of your eyes is they want you to be in business for 2 years, okay? So again, that's a gem, okay? Does Navy Federal work with the SBA? Yes, they are an SBA lender. SBA guarantees may be an option for working capital, business expansion, franchise expansion. They can be great for conserving business liquidity by allowing a higher loan to value for large equipment and similar purchases. Now, SBA is going to require tax returns. They're going to require a lot of documentation, okay? So it's a lot harder to get business loans through the SBA than it is to get like a business line of credit or a business credit card. So just be mindful of that. Does my business need to be a Navy Federal business member to apply for business financing? Absolutely yes. Okay. Again, Navy Federal is a relationship bank, and it is very important that you start that relationship on the personal side and then move it over to the business side and take that same concept with any other bank out there that offers some really great either personal credit products or business credit products, right? Because a lot of great banks to build with are credit unions, community banks, small banks that, maybe are just local banks. Those are usually like your community banks. Now, Chase and Wells Fargo and Bank of America, those are all really great banks for certain things. The Bank of America auto loan program, great, but again, they are stricter on their credit requirements. So if you have a higher 700 plus credit score, then you shouldn't have an issue. But some people don't have that high of a credit score, so they will need to have a little flexibility. In that case, Navy Federal is going to be a perfect fit for those that don't have a 700 credit score, but still want to get some business financing, funding, credit cards, business lines of credit, things of that nature. So you can also do a secured business line of credit to start building that relationship. So the benefits of that are you get a revolving line of credit for operational purposes. The line ranges up to or starting at $35,000. You can get a variable rate. Now, this must be secured. So when you see secured loans, it means it can be equipment, but something has to secure this loan. So if you default on this loan, they can come take that equipment. Okay, so there's got to be, again, one of the C's, collateral. Okay, what you will need to apply for the business line of credit. And again, this is best for established businesses that have the cash flow, that can generate business growth by getting equipment or something like that. And great for, operational, just to grow your business. Okay. Now, the business line of credit requests must be discussed with a lending representative before you apply. So again, that relationship with the business banker is going to be key, because you guys want to have everything ironed out before you go through to underwriting. You want to have the completed application, business tax returns. Again, they're going to want the last 2 years of tax returns. A business plan might be required. It's not necessary to do it yet until but you always want to make sure you have something in writing for them. ChatGPT is a great way to put a quick business plan into play for you. It can literally write everything out for you, or at least give you some guideline and some verbiage. Okay. Financial statements, this can be like your profit and loss statement, just something from like QuickBooks or something like that. Personal financial statements for all owners or guarantors, proof of collateral, additional documentation may be required. Again, you're going to need to provide a personal guarantee, which we call a PG. That's where they pull your personal credit. And again, a personal credit check will be done with Experian, from what they are saying. Again, information can change at any time, but as of right now, May of 2023, at the time of this recording, I'm going to make sure that I give you the most up-to-date information that I have. Again, things could change tonight for all that I know, right? And that's why it's so important for us to stay connected, for you to subscribe to the channel. If you want coaching, get coaching, so that way you're on the right path. Anyone that tries to sell you a dream to get you there in the next 60 or 90 days is just not right. Okay, just don't believe it. There's always going to be a new shiny coin that looks like, it's the pot of gold, but at the end of the rainbow, it's just a bunch of fool's gold. Okay, don't believe the hype. You have to get with the real. Okay. So let's talk about the Navy Federal Business Equipment Loans. A lot of business owners out there need to purchase equipment so they can grow their business, buy more, trucks, tractor trailers, whatever your business equipment needs are, you can finance with Navy Federal. So that's great. Now, you can purchase, you can also refinance those. There's no prepayment penalty with them, which is great. And there is a $150 origination fee. So that's, something that you would have to pay. This is good for commercial equipment, computer equipment, leasehold improvements, or expansion for your business. Okay. Now, what you'll need the application. Again, the purchase invoice from the buyer or from the seller with the serial number to ensure the proper lien filing and sales process. You're going to need to certify, gonna get insurance. So you're going to need a certificate of insurance with Navy Federal listed as the loss payee from your insurance company. Personal guarantee is going to be required. Personal credit check is going to be done with Experian. And again, probably about a 680. It could be lower. I'm not saying for sure, because there are no credit requirements as far as what the credit score needs to be. So we just want to try to get it as high as we possibly can, so our terms are better and you have a better rate. Okay. Next is the Navy Federal Credit Union Business Vehicle Loans. Very popular program for a lot of people. Make sure that you use it properly. So one of the reasons why videos take me so long to record is because of this little person right here. She constantly wants me to sit with her, sit next to her. She's always right there, huh?
Yeah.
Why?
I love you.
Oh, well, I love you too very much. And this is, what's your name?
Isabella.
Isabella?
Yeah.
How old are you?
3.
Tell the people how old you are.
3.
3. When's your birthday?
Halloween.
Halloween. Well, guys, We will get back to the Navy Federal Masterclass. I had to take a quick break so I could take care of my little 3-year-old baby here who is very needy. But this is another reason why I have less and less time to record these videos for you guys. So if you haven't by now, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe.
Try.
Tell him, Bella.
Tell him.
You're going to tell him to like, subscribe, and comment.
Okay, and try and comment?
Like, subscribe, and comment.
Okay, so let's start over then. So, but what did he say?
We want them to like, subscribe, and comment.
Okay. Subscribe and comment and what else?
Like, subscribe, and comment.
Comment and subscribe and comment.
Okay, you heard the boss. She said like, subscribe, and comment. All right, let's dive into the Navy Federal Credit Union business vehicle loans. Now, a lot of people want to get vehicles in their business name. It's a great way to hide the debt in your business. So let's dive into that real fast. So if you want to get a vehicle in your business name using Navy Federal, here are some of the highlights and what it is best for. So even Navy Federal will tell you on their website, as a small business owner, you are going to be liable for this auto loan. It does require a PG, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's a new purchase or if it's a refinance, you can qualify for both of those. Now, what you are going to need in order to apply for the auto loan under your business is, of course, the business application. You're going to need the purchase invoice. You're going to need the year, make, model, VIN of the vehicle, and the sales price. You're going to need a certificate of insurance listing Navy Federal as the lost payee. You have to get that from your insurance company. You're going to need a mileage statement for refinancing. You're going to need a payoff statement for refinancing. You're going to also need to personally guarantee it. So it is going to be a hard credit pull on usually Experian on the personal side. Now, keep in mind, nowhere on here does it say that they're going to pull Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax business, Experian business, none of that. It simply says a personal guarantee. So that's usually, a good thing because a lot of small business owners might not have a strong enough profile on the business side. So I always recommend, starting to build your business credit profiles out. But, if you have good personal credit, you can bypass a lot of that because, as I say, and you may have heard me say it in the past, I'll say it again, you're going to need one of those 3 C's in order to qualify: cash, collateral, or credit. And credit is heavily on the personal side. So let's talk about the fees. There's no fees for the business auto loan. So you can literally get, loans with no money out of pocket, no prepayment penalties. Loan to value. So you can get up to 100% of the loan value for new vehicles and up to 90% of the loan value for pre-owned vehicles. So what does that mean? That means that if you are trying to refinance, sometimes they're only going to give you up to a certain value of that loan. So they're telling you right here, they're only going to give you 90% of what the asking price is for the loan. You would have to cover that extra 10% plus any taxes and other, licensing fees that would be associated. So just keep that in mind. You're going to be able to get a Carfax from the vehicle for free. So they're going to make sure that everything checks out. I would not recommend purchasing any car that may be, a salvage title or, had severe damage in the past. You want to stay away from that. And when you are buying a vehicle, whether it's personal or business, you always want to purchase gap insurance. Gap insurance is usually, if you buy it when you buy your vehicle, you can get it usually I think directly with Navy Federal. So I believe when I got my vehicle, I added it on at the end with Navy Federal. So gap insurance is very important. I highly recommend it. Don't purchase it from the dealers. Try to either purchase it from the lender or through your insurance company. Some insurance companies will have gap insurance as a part of your policy. Some insurance companies will not. You need to verify this because you want to have gap insurance. So what the gap insurance is, say for example, your car is totaled and your loan, you owe $40,000, right? But the insurance company said, well, this car is only valued at about, $30,000. So we're going to pay out $30,000, but now you're left with this $10,000 difference that you still owe on the vehicle. That's where gap insurance comes in. They pay that gap that you owe. So you would not be responsible for that insurance gap. Okay. And it's very important to protect yourself. This vehicle loan is good for vehicles like autos, cars, light duty trucks, SUVs. So it's not listing that it has to be over a certain amount of pounds, which is a great thing, right? Another reason why I like the commercial vehicle loan is because of the fact that you can buy commercial, heavy duty, special use trucks, vans. A lot of people, they might even need a van that they can use for transportation purposes, right? Or some sort of heavy duty truck, a dually truck to pull trailers. I know a lot of car haulers, they use those dually trucks, special use trucks, right? Rolling stock, so you can get semi-tractor trailers, grain trailers, other equipment associated with hauling goods. So that can be a whole business in itself, right? And again, this is going with the commercial vehicle loans right here for these types of commercial heavy duty. The loan to value is up to 80% used. 80% new and 75% used. So it's a little bit of a lower because of course it's a higher risk. So you just kind of have to figure out and make sure you're planning accordingly. Now, as far as what you'll need to apply for the commercial vehicle loans, it's listed right here. A lot of the same information. You're going to need the VIN, the year, make, model, all that stuff. Now, you notice still they're not asking for business credit reports. They're not asking for bank statements. They're not asking for tax returns. A lot of these vehicles are going to be no doc lending. So that's great. When I say no doc, it's just no documents, no tax returns, no profit and loss statements or anything that would require you to provide proof or documentation, right? Let's talk quickly about the Navy Federal business real estate loans. This is a hot topic. A lot of people want to buy property using their business, and you can actually buy commercial real estate with Navy Federal. So you can choose, and again, it will have to be a commercial real estate loan, which is going to be great for purchasing, refinancing, or renovation. Fixed and variable rate options are available. Okay, so you can do different terms. Terms are always very important to understand because there is going to be the standard 5-year term when it comes to commercial property, and then you can do up to a 20-year. So there's different terms and different conditions associated with those terms. So make sure you understand that. Now, there's going to be different fees because there's different terms, right? Fees apply with different terms and, different plans that you get. What is this best for? Commercial real estate classified as either owner occupied or investment properties. You see that it does not necessarily mean that you need to occupy it, okay? It can be an investment property. It also states here, residential investment property, okay? This can be for, a rental, Airbnb. If you want to have long-term or short-term renting, this is perfect, right? Mixed use property, property renovation. So this is a great way to build up your portfolio. Purchasing real estate is life-changing, and it's all about building generational wealth, being able to leave your family something that they can build generational wealth with. So property is one of those things, and Navy Federal has a bunch of options for you here. So what you will need to apply, of course, there's going to be a lot more documentation when it comes to purchasing anything like commercial property or residential investment properties. They could ask for, whatever they want, basically. You see here, additional documentation may be required. So that means we are going to ask you for a lot of different things. It could depend. They're probably going to want tax returns. Actually, yes, it says right here, personal tax returns for all owners and guarantors. The most recent 3 years of tax returns. So you're going to need to do the application, business tax returns under an existing ownership. So you're going to need to have at least 3 years of business tax returns. A business plan might be required. Personal tax returns for all the owners or guarantors. Personal financial statements for all owners or guarantors. A debt schedule. Sales contract, which is your purchase agreement. A lease agreement if it's an investment property, rent rolls, which if it's an investment property, renovation estimates for materials and labor if it's, of course, renovation. And, they can ask for additional documents, so you just want to make sure that when you are going after these things with Navy Federal, your financial statements and, you're at that place, right? You're not going to just be able to get real estate loans with a brand new business that is not generating any income. Let's just be honest, okay? You're going to need to show income somewhere, whether it's on the personal side or the business side, because again, you're going to need one of those 3 C's, cash, collateral, or credit, right? And, your business might not be generating a lot of revenue right now because you're going to buy this investment, and then your business plan would show how this investment would then generate the income to cover the payments. But of course, you're going to need to be able to show that to the bank saying, hey, this is why I'm buying it. This is how I'm going to be covering the expenses, so on and so forth, right? Okay, so let's move on. I know that was a lot of information about Navy Federal business accounts, but the bottom line is the takeaways from that is, look, they're not asking for Dun & Bradstreet. They're not asking for your business credit reports. As far as I know, they are not pulling business credit reports. They are just pulling your personal credit report from Experian on the personal side. And again, you want to make sure that you have, I would say on the business side, at least a 700 credit score. It could probably be lower, but we want to set our standards high so we get the best terms. And, there's a big difference between a 680 and a 705, right? Let's just be honest. And if you can get your credit score above a 700, you're less of a risk and you have more borrowing power. Let's move on to the 10 most important Navy Federal Credit Union hacks. Now, these are the hacks that I was telling you guys about. You want to make sure that you are taking notes, writing this down. And if you haven't done so by now, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel, follow me on Instagram, and give me a good old thumbs up on the video. We greatly appreciate it. And again, your engagement helps my video reach more people that this can actually help. It also helps if you can share this video with your friends, with your family, on Facebook, anywhere that you can share this videos to help more people. I'm all for it, guys, because this is free information and it's literally life-changing. There's so much that you can do with your cash, with your credit, with your personal credit, with your business credit. But if you don't have the information, then it's pretty much like pointless, right? You got to have the information, and most importantly, you have to take action. The information isn't going to do it on its own. You have to be the one to put it in play. So, of course, if someone's leading you to water, I can't force you to drink, But guess what? I can show you the way, and you're going to need this water in order to stay on this journey. That's how I feel. So let's get into the 10 most important Navy Federal hacks. Let's go. So number 1, the one thing that I love about Navy Federal is they go off of stated income. They do not require bank statements. They do not require pay stubs. Now, of course, this can change at any moment. Anything can change at any moment. But for the last, umpteenth years, Navy Federal has been providing instant stated income loans. And that's so big for people. It is literally life-changing because some people can afford to pay the loan, but maybe they don't have, a paycheck that comes in every Friday or every other Friday, right? So that's huge. Stated income is one of my favorite. 2, they have stated income auto loans. So again, you can afford to make the payments, but maybe you don't show that on a bank statement or you don't show that on, a pay stub. They go off of stated income. And again, the goal with Navy Federal is to build a long-term successful relationship with them. So you never want to take on some sort of debt obligation and not have the means to pay it back, okay? So we don't want to ruin this for everyone. We want to keep it how it is. And the more people that, play ball and pay their bills on time, the easier it will be to win, guys, okay? We have to stay together. Number 3, they offer a soft pull credit line increase. So every time that I have applied for a credit line increase for either my personal cards, I have 3 personal cards, I've gotten credit line increases on all of them. So I have over $70,000 in credit cards now with Navy Federal. So that's huge. I was able to add $70,000 of available credit to my credit profile by adding 3 Navy Federal credit cards. So that's huge. Now, keep in mind, you have to do the credit line increases through the app. If you call in and request a credit line increase over the phone, that representative is most likely going to run your credit, and that is going to be a hard pull. So you want to request your credit line increases right there from your app under each account, okay? Number 4, cash advance. Now, if you guys don't know about this cash advance hack, I'm telling you right now, it is a game changer, okay? With Navy Federal, they do not charge a cash advance fee, and with the Platinum card, the APR is only 2% higher than it is on your actual card. So that is huge. And I know as far as like pulling cash from your card, the limit is generally anywhere from $600 to $1,000 depending on the card. The Platinum card is $600 and is $1,000, and some of the other cards like the Go Reward, it could be $600. So things, they're always changing, but last I checked, the Platinum was $1,000 per day that you can pull out of the ATM. And the Go card here is $600. So those are some great ways to liquidate your credit card. And we'll get into this little orange card in just a minute. But the Navy Federal credit cards have an amazing cash advance hack. And normally you're paying big bucks for cash advances. And with Navy Federal, again, they want to really help people. So no penalties. You do not have to pay for a cash advance. You are going to be paying, a higher APR, but sometimes it's worth it, right? Number 5 is going to be your Go prepaid card. Now, this orange Go prepaid card is not a credit card. It is a prepaid card, okay? And this is a great way for you to manufacture spend liquidate your credit card, grow your credit limits, because when I tell you, this thing literally has helped me so much. A lot of people don't talk about this, and that's why I say you want to make sure to watch the entire video, because you never know what type of information I'm going to be giving you guys. So this little orange card, it is a totally different area that you have to go and apply. You want to go to, again, this is the Go prepaid card with Navy Federal, and you want to get a prepaid card because you can actually load this card with your credit cards, okay? And then, of course, you can withdraw money from this because this is a debit card, okay? So again, it's a great way to liquidate that credit card of yours, and there's no risks in regards to that either. So one of the things that has really brought me into using this Go prepaid card was my goal was to grow my credit limits. And one way to do that is to spend a lot of money on your credit cards and be able to pay it back. And this is a great way to be able to load this prepaid debit card, pay everything that you need to, or withdraw the money and pay your credit card back. So if you needed the cash for something, you can always do that as well. It's your money, your decision. You just have to understand you need to pay this money back, okay? Don't take and don't spend what you can't pay back, all right? So let's go over how this little prepaid card works. You're going to load money onto the Go prepaid card. There's a mobile app, or you can do it online. And then you can use this debit card to shop online, in stores, or pretty much anywhere where Visa debit cards are accepted, which, let's be honest, it's like everywhere, right? So let's go over how this prepaid card works. It's very simple. You can load it online or through the app. You can shop anywhere where Visa is accepted or where debit cards are accepted. You can even add additional Navy Federal members to add money to the card. And it's great because the spending limits are, in my opinion, very fair. You can pull up to $600 cash off this card per day, okay? And say, for example, you don't have time to go to the ATM every day to pull cash off. You can actually order up to 5 cards for different card holders and give them to different people to go pull cash off or to use or whatever your goal is, right? So the point of sale is $3,000 per day. So that's, at a store, or that's basically how much you can spend minus the ATM. So point of sale, meaning you're at a POS system in a store. $3,000 max per day. ATM withdrawal, it's $600. Account owners can customize limits for other card holders. So that's great. That's a good, I guess you could say, benefit, right? And then total card load limit, $10,000. So you can literally liquidate this card for $10,000. Now you can only pull $600 cash out per day, but you've got 3,000 point of sale per day. So that's 3,600 total that we're looking at. So that's only a couple days, right? You can easily do that. So that's why I really like this Go Rewards card, because it allows you to, help, basically liquidate your credit cards. Let's just be honest, right? A lot of people are asking, how can you liquidate your credit cards? Well, if you don't want to manufacturer spend, which I don't recommend manufacturer spending with Navy Federal, because you never want to burn your bridge with Navy Federal or with American Express when it comes to manufacturer spending, okay? Again, this is just meant to liquidate your cards, but there's minimal risks involved because you are not manufacturer spending. You're not buying something and returning it and trying to get it returned to your debit card. And it's just a hassle sometimes. Stores are getting more and more hip to that. I just had a situation where I returned something and the card that I purchased it with was expired, and the store refused to return it to my debit card. Well, it went back and it actually never refunded to my card. So I've been having to deal with the banks and it's just been a mess. So I don't necessarily recommend manufacturer spending, but you can certainly liquidate your credit cards, and never manufacturer spend if you're going to use a Navy Federal credit card and then have it returned to your Navy Federal debit card. That's a big no-no, okay? Never intertwine the banks, or never use the same banks, okay? So let's talk about the features and the benefits of the prepaid Go card. There is no monthly activation or purchase fees. It has a mobile app. It is secure, of course. You can load the card for a total limit of $10,000. So you can keep on loading, but it's a limit of $10,000. It has a cool little simple setup. You can add additional card holders. So if you want multiple people to be able to use your cards, you can do that. Now, one thing that you should test out is each card has set limits, right? Now, if one card allows you to pull out $600, will those other cards allow you to pull out $600 from each of those cards? Something to think about, okay? Now, you have dependable ATM access, so you can pull out that $600 daily limit. And of course, you're fully protected. So if anything happens, you've got the protection there. And, you know, I can't really say anything negative about it. Now, this is a separate app versus the Navy Federal app. You actually will need to download the Go prepaid mobile app with Navy Federal. Again, it's an orange card, looks like that, and you're going to need to download. It has its own app that is used. Number 6, debit fees are credited back to you. So I had mentioned earlier in the masterclass that one of the things is there are not a lot of Navy Federal ATM machines, and Navy Federal is aware of that. So that's why they will allow you to pull money out of ATM machines, but they will credit the fees back to you. So if you are somewhere where there's not a Navy Federal branch, you can go to an ATM, a bank ATM, and you can pull out money free of charge, and Navy Federal will credit back the fees to you. This is nationwide, worldwide. So there you have it. It's great for travel if you were worried about that. Number 7, the flagship card hack. Now, one of my favorite credit cards is my Navy Federal flagship card, because you can get approved for up to an $80,000 credit limit. Not to mention the fact that they generally give out high limits, and you can grow your limit up to $80,000. Having an $80,000 trade line on your credit profile is literally priceless, especially when you plan to personally guarantee for multiple businesses. You can personally guarantee for unlimited amount of businesses as long as your personal credit profile is set up strong, it's structured right. The possibilities are simply endless, okay? And this flagship card that you can add, it's a signature card, so that means it's one of the best, right? Let's just be honest. And it can really be a game changer. Like right now, I have this card and my limit, it's like 33,000, and I just keep growing and growing and growing it over time. I think I started this card at like 24,000 is what my initial approval was. So, both my cards started at like 25,000, and now they're both in the $30,000 range. And they're just going to keep going up from there, especially the flagship card. So it's a great way to add primary trade lines to your credit profile, and then you can even add authorized users onto your credit card and help other family members and friends. And, if they are a Navy Federal member, you'll need to have their access number. But other than that, I mean, it's just, I'm telling you, like the possibilities are literally endless with Navy Federal, because they have everything that you're going to need on the personal side and the business. Number 8, you can actually buy crypto with a debit card from Navy Federal. So That is pretty big. A lot of places will not allow you to buy crypto, but Navy Federal will. So that is definitely a plus, and a lot of people can take full advantage of that. Number 9. Now, as a couple, and I may have mentioned this earlier, instead of doing a joint account, I believe each person should have their own Navy Federal account. So that way you can maximize the amount of funding that you're getting. So if you are a couple, I have a credit card, you have a credit card. You get auto loans, I get auto loans. You get a home improvement loan, I'll get a mortgage. Let's work together so we can maximize the amount of funding that we're getting from Navy Federal instead of being co-signers on each other's accounts. Definitely separate it so you can maximize the amount of funding that you are getting as a couple with Navy Federal. So instead of just getting 3 credit cards, now you can get 6 between the 2 of you, and then you can add each other onto your credit cards as authorized users. Game changer, game changer. You can add your kids on to your accounts as authorized user, literally have your 18-year-old children with a 700 credit score, all because you were educated, you took the time to educate yourself so you can educate your children and make sure by the time they turned 18, they are set up for straight success and they are already buying properties at the age of 21, 22. Let's go, man. Let's get it. For real. There's no reason, there's no excuses, okay? Number 10, you want to build up that Navy Federal internal score. And I talked about this briefly earlier. Basically, the best ways to go about it: direct deposit, checking account, savings account, doing the pledge loan, doing some sort of money market or CD account or investment account. The more accounts and the more relationships, the more things that you have done with Navy Federal and they can truly trust you, the better of an internal credit score you are going to have with Navy Federal, which is super important because, again, it's all about relationships, right? You might not have the best personal credit score, but because your relationship with Navy Federal is solid, they will give you an auto loan. They will approve you for a home loan, especially those that are veterans that can get a VA loan. It is an absolute game changer because the home loans with Navy Federal, they have an amazing home loan program. I've helped get a lot of people approved for the Navy Federal home loan program, and I'm telling you, it's just amazing, okay? So those are the 10 hacks that I wanted to share with you guys. Of course, I'm sure there's tons more, but those are the ones that are most important for you guys. Now let's talk about the 8 things that you never want to do with Navy Federal, okay? And these are really important because, again, it is important not to screw up with Navy Federal, not to get a late payment, not to do anything that is going to make them think that you are, not credit worthy, you can't be trusted. Once you mess up with Navy Federal, it's over, okay? And they will get their money back because they, if they can verify that it was you who did that or took out the loan or took out whatever, they'll take legal action to get and recover the funds. So do not mess up with Navy Federal. I tell this to a lot of people, and sometimes I feel like it goes in one ear and out the other. But again, I want you guys, we're here to do the right thing. I'm promoting for you guys to never take on debt that you can't handle. Okay. We always want to protect ourselves because the last thing that we would want to do is obtain all of this credit and, end up not being able to pay for it. Okay. So, number 1, we do not want to manufacture spend with Navy Federal. We want to be very careful. Okay. You want to be able to use like third-party spend. So you can do like Rakuten, you can do the portals, you can even load your prepaid Go Rewards card, right? But you never want to manufacture spend. And what manufacturer spending is basically where you go and spend a bunch of money and then you return all of those items and get them returned to another account, say like a debit card, right? So we take Navy Federal credit cards, you go and buy a bunch of stuff, and then you return it. But when you return the items, you return it to your debit card. So all of that money is now deposited into your debit card. A lot of people liquidate their credit cards like that. They'll use wholesale places like Costco and things of that nature. And, if that's your thing, hey, I don't knock it whatsoever. But what I am saying is I would not risk my relationship, and I would never recommend anyone risk their relationship with Navy Federal to manufacture spend, because there's so many other places that you can do it with. Navy Federal and American Express are no-go. You don't want to get blacklisted with Amex, and you don't want to mess up your relationship with Navy Federal, because those are two major banks, and they are powerful banks, and they have a lot of intelligence that can tell them, what you're doing. Another thing is, if you do manufacture spend, you never want to have the credit returned to the same bank. So say you are using a Navy Federal credit card and you're having it returned to a Navy Federal bank account, that is, like I said, it's a no-go. If you are using, some sort of Bank of America and you're returning it to a Bank of America account, that's a no-go. You always want to return it to another type of account. Okay. So be very careful. If you do plan to manufacture spend to raise your limits, just be careful and be mindful of what I have said. Okay. Now, next thing, number 2, you do not want to convert auto loans into personal loans. I covered this briefly a little earlier. Again, we're here to do the right thing. And if your intention is to get a personal loan, just apply for a personal loan. Apply for a home improvement loan. But don't apply for a auto loan knowing that you are going to do something fraudulent, and it's just not the right thing to do, okay? You don't want to mess up your relationship lying to Navy Federal about something so small, okay? So be mindful, and, I don't recommend doing this. If they do catch you, you will get in trouble. It is considered bank fraud, and, if the loan does convert for something, it's going to be a much higher interest rate, because an auto loan has collateral. Personal loan, there is no collateral. So just be careful. Number 3, do not apply for a credit increase over the phone or in the branch, okay? And I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Do not apply for a credit line increase over the phone, with a teller, or anywhere except for the app. If you go inside of your app, inside of your account, you will see request a credit line increase. That's where you're going to do it, and it's not going to cost you a hard pull. So you always want to request your credit line increases directly through your app, okay? Number 4, do not rush the payoff of the pledge loan. I did a pledge loan video. It's got a lot of people up in arms like, well, can I pay it off early? Yes, of course you can. But again, that's defeating the purpose. When you set up your pledge loan, if you do it for 6 months, if you do it for 12 months, just let it roll, okay? The purpose of the pledge loan is to build a relationship, to show your ability to repay back debt as agreed. Credit takes time. Don't rush the process, okay? Just take your time, set it up on auto pay, and let it go, okay? Just let it go. Again, I did 2 pledge loans. My first one was $3,500. My second one was $25,000. And the first one did 6 months, just let it go on auto pay. The second one, 6 months, I just let it go on auto pay. I think I paid a little off early, but, I just wanted to really build my relationship with them, okay? So, number 5, do not dispute inquiries on open credit cards with Navy Federal, okay? You don't want to take the risk of them shutting down your credit cards over an inquiry, okay? It's just not worth it, right? Just take the inquiry. Just take the hit. Your credit score will go back up over the next couple months, okay? Number 6, do not mess up your interview with the business banker with Navy Federal Credit Union. I laugh because so many people have, just say less, okay? have your paperwork together, and know how to give safe and good answers. They do not work with anyone who works in credit, whether it's business credit, credit coaching, credit counseling, credit repair, nothing credit. So you need to make sure you have a business website. If Navy Federal looks you up and they can find you online with the business banker on the phone, they are going to go to your website and they're going to review your website. And within 10 seconds, they will be able to tell based on your website if they are going to, if you even qualify for a business account with them, right? Since they are a nonprofit, they are selective of what businesses they work with. So you want to be careful, okay? Nothing high risk. If you need to make a secondary website or landing page for Navy Federal, you need to do that, because if you are trying to get a Navy Federal bank account and you do anything related to credit, it is going to be a no-go. If you even have the word credit on your website, Navy Federal will decline you, okay? So be careful. That's why it's always best practice to have a very, broad business name. I don't know what you do, okay? Because your business name is, Nicole Scott Enterprises, or, Nicole Scott the Coach. You want to brand your business and give your business name something very, broad, something that is not considered high risk. You can use the word consultant. You can use the word logistics. Okay. Depending on what industry you are in, you want to, select something that's less risky, right? Logistics is great for trucking. Consulting is great for those that do talk about credit, business coaching, those type of things. There's other low risk, but we're not going to get into all of that. But make sure that you are prepared, because they will eat you alive. The business bankers that are on the phone, they are looking to ensure that you qualify for a business bank account. It is a lot harder getting a business bank account versus, say, Bank of America, right? Who will pretty much take on anyone that signs up with them. Not Navy Federal. They decline quite a few businesses because they are considered high risk, okay? I recommend you go to their website, you do your due diligence, and you make sure that if your business is high risk, you get some things in order before you apply, aka a whole new website, okay? Let's talk about number 7. Do not get the Navy Federal American Express card if you want to liquidate credit cards with the prepaid Go card, okay? So the Navy Federal American Express credit card does not work to load with this Go prepaid card. You have to have either the Green Cash Rewards card or any other card besides the Amex card, right? But I did share with you guys earlier in the video, my experience with the Amex card was it actually helped me get approved for Amex on the business side. And when I got my Amex business cards, it said that I was a member since the time that I actually joined with the Navy Federal. So I thought that was interesting. Number 8, do not buy an access code to Navy Federal from anybody, okay? That is the quickest way to get in fast and get your ass kicked out fast. Oh, did I just say that? Do not buy an access code from anyone to get into Navy Federal. Do not, I'm going to repeat this. Do not buy a membership access code to get into Navy Federal. It is not worth it, okay? You need to get in the right way. If you buy an access code for someone, it's literally like you don't know the background of it. It could be bad. It could cause your account to get flagged and shut down. You really don't want to be associated with an access number. If they mess up, that could lead to an investigation and look into your account, and they could figure, oh, well, they don't know them. They're not related. They're not a roommate. It's one of the fastest ways that you can get in and then get kicked out just as fast as you got in. So you want to make sure that you are getting in through the grandfather method, father method, relative method, or some of the other methods that I mentioned in part 1 of this Navy Federal Masterclass. So again, make sure that you watch part 1 and part 2 of the Masterclass, because there is a lot of information that we cover. And if you are serious about your credit, you are going to want to have a Navy Federal account, whether it's on the personal side or the business side or both. You want to have one. Okay. So don't buy an access number. I know it might sound good, get you in. Oh my goodness. Let me just pay for it. But no, you don't want to do that. It's just not worth it. So I shared with you guys before my experience with Navy Federal, but I'm just going to share with you guys one more time. I was able to get 2 auto loans with Navy Federal. I put both of those auto loans on Turo, and I'm able to have, Turo help me pay so I can drive nice vehicles and literally cover all of my auto expenses. It's helping me build credit. It's just a great thing, right? And I have less than a 5% interest rate on all of my auto loans. So not only do I have a very affordable car payment, but I have a great interest rate, which is the reason why I have such an affordable car payment. Like, I've literally have never had such a cheaper car payment in all my life until I learned how credit works, right? So 2 auto loans. I've done 2 pledge loans. I have 3 credit cards with Navy Federal. My experience with them has been nothing but blessed. And they have literally helped open doors with other creditors that probably would have never given me any sort of real limits. But since I have such high limits on my credit cards with Navy Federal, that has helped other banks give me higher limits, including Capital One, US Bank, PNC, USAA. The list goes on and on. So there's a number of places that literally have she has a high limit credit card with Navy Federal. Let's go ahead and match that, So that's what I mean when, you can piggyback and you can mirror, the account. Basically, when I say mirror, it's saying, if you have all these high limit credit cards on your profile, a lot of banks are going to mirror what you already have on your credit profile. But if you have a bunch of $500 credit limits, they're going to probably mirror that $500 credit limit, right? So it's just been a game changer for me. Again, guys, just watch through part 1 and part 2 of the masterclass, and it's literally going to lay it all out for you. Don't feel like you have to know everything. You just need to understand the concept behind it all. Okay. Now, final thoughts are, this work that you need to do is not going to get done by itself. You're going to need to write out a plan of action, get your to-do list rolling, and take action. Try to get something done every single day. There is no reason why you should not have opened a Navy Federal bank account already. They are literally open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The business department, different story, but you want to take action, okay? Get it together. You watching all of these videos and spending the time to educate yourself is great. I applaud you. I was right there with you at one point. Believe me, I would sit at my desk Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, with my earphones in, listening to YouTube, listening to Credit Plug, listening to, Mike from the Credit Game, who no longer exists because, I don't know, some things happened. But I was listening to all of these people who were, popular. And, Credit Plug, shout out to Credit Plug. I've learned a lot from him over the years. And, I will be honest, I would literally sit at my desk and listen to the videos from Credit Plug and say, man, I want to be just like him. I want to create videos on YouTube and teach people about this, because I literally invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into multiple mentorships and coaches to learn this information. And while it was all worth it, and I'm a huge advocate of investing in yourself, in your education, in mentorship, in training, I would have rather dealt with one person that could have taught everything to me. And that's why I became that person that is educated about a little bit of everything, right? How to start a rental car business, personal credit, business credit, credit coaching, all of those things I do. So if you decide to do business with me, I can provide you with personal credit coaching, business credit coaching, trade lines, personal credit trade lines, business credit trade lines. The list goes on and on. If you want to start a credit repair business, whatever the case may be, we are going to cover that. So that's why it's so important for you guys to share this video and this information with your friends, your family. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter. Get the information out there for other people to learn and to take advantage. Now, this is just with Navy Federal. Navy Federal is not the only credit union out there that has really great credit products. There's a number of other credit unions and financial institutions that offer similar credit products. The concept is still the same. Build a relationship, start with a bank account on the personal side. If you have issues opening a bank account, we already went over what to do about that. Watch part 1 of the video and get it together, guys. You have to, it takes time. It's very time consuming doing all of this stuff. So you have two options. You can either do it yourself, or you can hire a virtual assistant to help you do it for you, or you can hire someone like me to repair your credit, repair things, fix things, coach you on things, but you have to be a part of the process. You have to understand what you're doing, put an action plan together, and execute, okay? Execution is what holds most people back. They know what they need to do, but for whatever reason, they can't quite follow through on the execution, okay? That is key. Executing is going to be something that is required if you work with me, okay? Now, if you want to connect more, visit all of the links in the description. I've got, my link to Instagram. You can follow me at Credit Coach Nicole Scott on Instagram. Make sure that you have subscribed to the YouTube channel, Credit Coach Nicole Scott, and watch part 1 and part 2 of the video, because I put this masterclass out here for you guys to learn. Now, some of the key takeaways to remember: Navy Federal gives massive credit lines, okay? Credit limits. They offer stated income products. So you could use household income, right? You can use projected income, but it's all stated, right? That's the great thing about it. It's very powerful. It's a great place to rebuild your credit or build credit. If you already have, some credit, it's a great place to build. Easy to liquidate your credit cards fast. Again, this little guy is a gem, okay? Business funding can be massive on the business side. And of course, they're going to pull TransUnion on the personal. They're going to pull Experian on the business. They use FICO 9 as their scoring model. And again, this information can change at any time, but as long as you understand the concept, you take action, you're going to be just fine, guys. So from the bottom of my heart, if you are still around to the end of this video, I thank you so much. Please make sure that you share the video, like, subscribe, make sure that you've watched part 1 and part 2. And if you are interested in working with me, make sure to check the links below and book a free call to talk with my team today. Until next time, guys, make sure that you watch the next video coming up next.